criminal. Look at that, going at that moss like hammer and tong. And you want to know why I don't do moss on my trees. Mind you, that's nature, isn't it? Hopefully he's got a little family to feed.
So, hi from Expressions of Grace Bonsai. Little follow up on the Ginkgo. I just want to say a warm goodbye to the warm spring. I'm presuming that was spring. It may have been that was summer. Who knows? We'll find out in time to come. But it's suddenly got a lot colder, and I've desperately got to get on to finish these ginkgos, which is the wiring up. This may well follow on from the end of a video I did about saving nurseries, where I picked up some imports, or it could be standalone. It all depends on how long it is, and if it's standalone and on its own, then you probably won't see all this waffle because it won't be needed, will it? Anyway, let's see how we get on. I'm gonna basically, this is Ginkgo I got from saving a couple of years ago, maybe 3 years ago. Right old messy clump style. All that's had happened to it is I repotted a couple of years ago, got rid of all the gunky soil, and when you talk about the gunky soil, hopefully you'll have seen the video about the transport soil. So this is in a nice free draining soil, looking nice and healthy. Buds are all starting to green up. Probably worth noting that I recently watched a Ryan Neal Bonsai Mirai video, in which he did a fantastic job on Ginkgo. He called it nursery stock, but it looked like a finished bonsai to me before he even started on it. But yeah, he sort of went through some wiring techniques, talked about the shape and the fact that they're a flame style, and about just reminded me that sometimes it's important to keep trees true to their natural form, and I think that's something that many creators actually concentrate on doing, is trying to keep the trees looking how they should in nature. So I'm going to wire this up. They're quite an old, I think almost prehistoric style tree, in the fact that they've got a very I was going to use the word retarded, but I don't know if that's appropriate, but yeah, a very antiquated healing style, in terms of if you do cuts, it takes them a very long time, their vascular system, to heal anything. In terms of marking, wire marks very easily, and a bit like the maple, once the mark's there, it's there for good. You can see the marks up here where this has been wired. But anyway, I'm going to have a little go on this. I've got 5 to do today, so we'll see how we get on. And there'll be some wiring. I won't show you it all because I've done that before, but also some probably bud selection, and it's just looking with bud selection where you've got your internodal distance, so here 2 buds either side, shortish distance to the next one, and then it looks like the next bud is almost twice as far. So I'll cut from there, because obviously what I don't want to do is go further up the tree. I don't want the internodal spacing to actually be increasing, although again you get that. They're not the most flexible, so I've got to be a little bit careful with it. I'll use the aluminum, it's like American, the aluminium wire. We'll see how we get on. Okay, I've decided the first one that needs to be tackled should be quite obvious, and it's this great big handlebar ugly thing here, which is literally a right angle coming off the junction here. It may well get removed eventually, but for now what I really want to do is just pull it out, do something like that. But I'm going to try and create it outwards and then get those going back up and in. The key decision I've got to make is whether this one in the middle comes off. There's a lot of rot there, I'm not sure what that's all about, but I need to look at that. Whether that one comes out, which is the taller of them, or whether it's that one. They're two, I mean, I could keep them together. Definitely one of these two has to come off. That's taller, but I quite like, I've got 1, 2 branches, 3, so I can transfer, cut there, so we get some taper forming there. Yeah, let's get these two out of the way anyway first. And this one itself, it's not in the greatest nick. In fact, when I say it's not in the greatest nick, I actually think it's dead.
Well, we'll find out. Here we go.
Just in case. Oh, I think that looks pretty brown bread to me. Well, that solved that. And I think you can just see, if you look there, just here is the collar mark there. And when I was talking about Zita's apple tree, that's what we're looking for, is a collar there. So I am just going to cut at that collar point. I'll be using two thicknesses. Okay. Even, and to say, they do mark easily. And of course I also want to be careful not to knock any buds off. I mean, when they're healthy they will often produce buds quite readily. Okay, well, let's see what we've got there. So that's wired up. And you can see there already, you won't be able to see there, but there's a little bit of a stress mark there, and that's already telling me that it's really at the maximum of where it's going to go. But what I'm going to get from there is a branch, hopefully from there, and a branch out from there. So I probably don't really want that one. In fact, why waste time with it? Get rid of it. Okay, so that's sorted that out. Let's just clean up down there, and I'm just going to be following the existing line that I've already done on the first wire on it. Okay, I've got a bud right in the crotch there, so I'm not entirely sure what's going to happen there. Okay, so I'm going to continue to wire each of these up, and rather than put them all into place in one go, I'm going to get the whole lot wired up and then see how it goes. So I'll come back to you when I've finished the wiring, but the wiring process is always the same. Okay. Okay, we're about halfway through wiring this now, and I've ended up not making a decision on this one I'm wiring right now, because I really don't know how it's going to work out. So we've got these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wired, and of course from the front this looks like a branch coming out. That one looks like it comes out of here, but if you go around and look in close, which hopefully you'll be able to pick up here, it's actually, there's actually quite a, it's coming out from the root base here below that main branch. So there is going to be an issue potentially with scarring in there from the wire. I am going to try and bend it out and away, but because it's not part of that main trunk, that could make for an interesting feature. And I've decided I'm going to keep them both, because I don't know what I'm going to do. So I might try and turn this one further out. We'll see. With these two, what I've actually done is, because they're coming out of the clump itself, I've driven wire straight down to the centre, right down to the base soil, so they're each individually wired from there, and that's got its own individual wire, that's going down there as well. So I'm not sure that I've actually picked a thick enough gauge to do much bending, but my intention isn't to do radical changes, just to give me some vertical separation perhaps. It's a slow healer. And when you do pruning cuts, this is definitely one of those ones where you give it room to heal. So you've got to really think hard about bud selection when you're cutting. And if you look about some poor wiring, just here, there's quite a big gap there. So I'm going to have to do something about that, I think, because you're just not going to get the contact you want. Finished wiring that up. Just a few interesting points. Trying to pair up and buddy wire can be difficult sometimes, and you have to use little tricks. Here, just here, I've done what you call a preformed hook. It's literally just shaped so that it'll slip over that stub, and then I've used that to come down for this branch. And again, through the way you'll see that I've buddied up on the wire that's already there to take it further out to the edge. And in terms of all that wire, if I just remind you, a reel of that, 500 grams, I think the last time cost $12.50. So I mean, it looks like I've used a lot, and I have, but that's $12.50 a roll, and there's still loads on there. So, you know, expense-wise, it for a hobby, it isn't prohibitive. So at the moment, I just want to create this flame, but I do want to get some separation on wires, on branches and buds. So I've got a bud that's going to come out here. Just going to get straight at that. At the moment, they're going to go this way, and whatever comes out of there will eventually be shaped up. So at the moment, let's see if we can just twist. So it is going to come out to the front, but I'm not 100% sure where the front's going to be. Now, I'm not sure how much play I'm going to have on this big one. Oh. And what we got then was a nice crack. You still want to continue the bend you were trying to do. But I'm going to just use some paraffin tape. I can't see the exact site of the all I'm trying to do is just create an airtight barrier so that there's some hope that it will repair itself. Paraffin tape sticks to itself, so as I say, I wasn't knowing exactly the site of the break, so I couldn't apply any wound sealant, but hopefully this will give it a nice tight seal. And you know, that may heal up all right. Paraffin tape, always good to have around. Amazing how many times I've managed to get through a break on that. And the thing is a lot of time when you break stuff, you think, oh, and you put it back and you try and get the tissue as close together as it originally was, but the truth is, once it's broken and torn, especially on something like this, it's not going to repair at that point. So what you're trying to get is that the tissue or that is still left joined together, that gets an opportunity to repair. So the whole idea of putting it back in position defeats the object of doing the bend in the first place. So that's why I'm trying to maintain the bend that I originally wanted. And very carefully just try and give it okay. Okay, and then here, this back one, we just want to take it away. And it is brittle, so I'm not going to go to town. I just want to get some general. Just try and bring it back in. I want to try and keep it. So these are going to end up coming out, and the flame is going to be here, I'm hoping. Okay, and a lot of the time your battle is actually with knowing just how much flexibility you've got. I'm not sure about this one, what I'm going to get from it. I may well actually do something a bit different and encourage that to already start coming up. we're obviously going to get something coming here, which means I need to try and give that space. Two buds that are going up and up, so I may well end up just taking that up. I'm not trying to do anything outlandish with it, I just want to try and keep them into themselves. And this back one, there we go. Right, that's going to do me for now. There's enough there that I've done, and I don't know if you'll be able to see how it was. I'm trying to get the direction of branches going upwards. I'm just going to have a little look now at buds that are coming out and just see what I've got. So on this branch, 1, 2, 3, and then the terminal going up. I might leave that for now. 1, 2, then this is dead. That's going to get reduced down eventually. That's already dead all the way further back. In fact, I can probably take that a little bit further back. Yeah. A little knobbly bit there. Get rid of that. Don't really want anything growing into the inside. This one here. So we'll get rid of that. Got this one coming out here, this one's going to come out here and here, so we're going to get some good branches there. That could be the new up, and I may well get rid of that terminal. There we go. So that's there. Then looking at this one, got this ugly scar here. I won't clean that up while I got wire on. We've got a bud coming out. Well, we've got this one here, potentially will take us up this way. This one is a pain, but it's right on the inside of the bend, but I've got nothing else here. But if that comes up, it's going to cover that, so I'm going to take that away. Okay, so then we've got the line coming out. We'll have this one, and this one. That's 3 on there. I'm happy with that. Happy with the back one. Coming up here, we're going to have one coming on the inside here, and I don't want that. So I'll get rid of that. That one is probably going to, at the moment it's going to hit this, but what I'll probably do is try and train it out that way so it goes out to the back. Come up here. I'm using that for a hook. We've got 2 buds here, one there, one there, one there. That's going to be, it's trying to deter the height of the branches. We're not going to want that one. Probably don't want that one, but for now I'm going to let those go. And then we're coming to this trunk here. We've got 1, 2, 3. I want all those because that's one's potentially got the damage, so bearing that in mind, I may lose everything above that point. So we've got this bud here, which will allow us to get something from it. We've got this little thing in here, which may get up there, so we'll leave that. And then looking here, 2 here. Get rid of that. Okay. So, for now, that is that one wired up. And I suppose in costs, maybe a couple of quid in wire. So, hopefully you've enjoyed seeing me do that Ginkgo. I'm now going to skip ahead, quickly wire all the others up because I'm freezing cold And though some of you may enjoy seeing me do another tree, I may show you one more, but that will be in rapid fast motion, where you see me go like this really fast. Okay. This one has a lot less viable buds, so I won't do any pruning. I will just do some branch direction and see what comes. We've got some green on this. We've got some bud sites here, but they don't look particularly active, so I think this may be the only branch that's going to be viable. So, you know, you could end up with that being the trunk line, although a touch of green in there, maybe. Not sure. I'll know when I try and bend them because they'll break. Got a lot of buds at the tip here. So, and this is to say, sometimes you find the tree's going to tell you where it wants to live. I mean, that was a massive trunk here. When I bought it, that had already... Had that been cut, or had I done it? I think that had been cut, but that's an example of giving something a decent collar. So that's got a good ½ inch above here, but if I'd actually cut it like I did with the apple and tried to cut it flush, I'd have lost this. So, you know, you better to be careful, and at some point I'll do some probably nibbling away of this or something, I don't know. At the moment I'm more interested in the tree itself. There's 2 buds on the inside there, not sure what they're going to do. So we'll leave that. So in essence, I think that's where I've got it designated the front at the moment. And it's just wired up so we get that flame shape. See what happens with that and how the growth comes out. I think last year the growth was a little bit sparse on that. So this is the next of them. As I say, normally every time I go to saving nurseries, I normally pick up 1 or 2 of these because, in truth, they were always cheap. No one ever seemed to want Ginkgo, and they always looked a bit scrabby and a bit crabby in the pots because the soil was always rubbish. I mean, the roots still need sorting out, but I just want to try and strengthen them up to begin with. But anyway, this is the one I'm going to wire up next, so we'll see how we get on with that. I'll just carefully take it up here because I don't want to knock all these live buds off. Now clearly I'm wiring this just before it's about to flush. There's going to be a lot of tissue growth, and this could be one of those cases where I'll have to watch it very, very carefully, because the wire may be coming off again in 3 or 4 weeks. So what are we going to do with this wiring wise? So again, that's where the original trunk's been cut. All I want to do is just gently, not too much, just enough, and then looking at, see if I can get that over a little bit more. Take too much. Okay, so just a little bit. I'd like it to get a little bit, it's very parallel at the moment, so I'm going to have to do something about that. I think that's done it. We've just broken parallel there. Nothing I can do about these. And in terms of these ones, I just want to bring them up a little bit. So initially out and then just so it's in and then out and up. And I'm not sure with this one. I just wanted to get some straight out of that. So let's have a look and see what I want to do here. There we go. That's all I intend to do. You're not trying to get too much of an artificial line to it, but just a hint. That'll do. I'll just clean it up. Make sure I haven't got little buds. It looks like I might have I can't tell if that's going to be a bud or not, so with that in mind, I'll just take the top off there. Coming around, there looks like a bud coming out there. There's a bud on the end of that, which will give me growth that way. There's 2 buds here. There's a bud there. On the back, 2 buds coming out there. Absolutely vital, those 2. This one's coming towards, so I'm not going to want that. Okay. And what I'll do is I'll use cut paste just to touch up the ends there. Here, 2 and 2, which is lovely. So this is where I'm going to get the back growth from. I'm going to leave all those. Right, so. And that is number 402. And the job that I don't show, but Nigel shows so well. I haven't got any tweezers, so I'm just going around and picking up all these little Scottish weeds that come down south. Don't know how you get Scottish weeds into Canada, but there's absolutely hundreds of them here. Hundreds. You can hear the birds cooing away in the background, laughing at me. Well, actually no, they're saying thanks very much. Once you've gone, we'll go digging and we'll be able to get at those worms that are under that soil probably. But I got some footage earlier, which I don't know whether it'll be at the front of this video or at the end of this video, which shows one of those lovely little pesky birds having a bit of fun with one of my bonsais outside the kitchen window. So, I'm not going to inflict this on you much longer. There's only one person who can inflict this sort of torture on you with perfection. That's Nigel, so I'll leave that to him. Hiya, Nigel. So, there we go. Lovely thick base on this. Lovely thick. We've got classic Nigel crossing root, so add its repot. That will all get sorted when I see what's underneath it. But this got put into this pot, I think it was 2 years ago. So it was all about building up the roots in there. Yeah, I might just let there's 3 buds. 3 buds there. So what I'll probably do, rather than that, is let it naturally go up on itself. There's one coming out there, I'm not sure I want. Again, bud there. Don't want it to come out there, not really, so we're going to get rid of that one. That was a much nicer root base, but that could create problems with this branch. But either way, I'm wondering whether to get rid of this here. A bud there, a bud there, got this coming here. You know what? Let's just take it there. Okay. Ugly swelling there. Interesting that. That's actually going to come off, I think. I've already taken loads of cuttings, so I'm not going to bother with that. Oh, I'm not exactly sure where the front will be on this. Less worried about that right now. Okay, so that's the last of the Ginkgos, thank goodness, because I've lost the feeling to the fingers, kneecaps and toesies. So this little old man has got to get himself inside to the warm and make use of all that really expensive gas central heating that I can't afford to pay for. I really must sell a tree. I keep saying I'll sell trees. I think my site says I sell trees, but I can't face it. They all look so good. I don't have the heart to sell anything, and while no one comes around, I'm more than happy. So, although I'm sure Dawn will have words to say to me about that, because I won't be able to afford to buy her pots otherwise. Right, so that's that for that. Obviously the pot's not right, but so there's my little lesson in Ginkgo for what it's worth.